doing the worshiping. In past relationships where she found herself in a one-sided relationship, it's because she was the worshiper. Now she's found somebody who worships her. And that's what I said about trying to find that balance sometimes in relationship situations can be very difficult. You go completely to the other side. And I think you know, so for me, I'm looking at going, okay, great. So now we know that obviously he does X, Y, and Z. I didn't have a problem with her listening to what X, Y, and Z was. I didn't even necessarily even need her to say what she was actually doing for him per se. But I think that adding of a worship, oh, he worshipped me, the ground that I walk on. And maybe she'll come out and say, look, what I meant by that was that, you know what, he just adorned me and appreciated me. But the word worship is so specific as a type of action from a human being. Not necessarily that I think she was like literally, but more in the case of the fact that you know that he loved you considerably more, which is why later on in that particular piece she says, and that what's a wording that she used exactly? Oh, I took off the thing, didn't I? Like an idiot. Let me go back to it. Let me see the wording that I want to use specific wording that she used so I don't misquote. She used specific wording and said about how about a parent. Okay, got it. Yeah. So she said, yeah, said, oh no, that's a different post. Oh no, that was a bit mad, that post as well, to be honest. We'll come into on that part. But yeah, she said this part. She said, I was here. Yes, I began to fully trust him and his actions. I hear often people would say the man should love you more. So when you tie that into the worship aspect, again, when you tie those two in now you realize what kind of balance we have in this relationship, right? So that's what I'm deducing. I don't know if you guys are getting the drift I'm going on, but I'm deducing that there's a considerable, well, at least at the time of the post, there's a considerable power imbalance between the two. And this man loved her through all the madness. Because if you weren't in love with me, but you loved me, you know what I mean? I'm sure there's probably a little bit of toxicity in there, a little bit of madness you'll bring to the table. And he was able to deal with it because he had a mindset of loving you beyond what you could have imagined loving him at. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah. Corey, why are you laughing?
Yeah, because I'm thinking if that was the reason why she said yes, you know, to the marriage proposal. If she knew that ahead of time, she knows this man worships me. I know this man worships me. You know, why not say yes to the proposal? Because he's going to do whatever he can to make sure that I'm happy. And a lot of people do go into marriage just thinking about the me aspect instead of the we or the you know, the family aspect. So when you said that part, it was like, okay, that's why I smiled a little bit to see. Like, I'm curious if that's the case. I don't know if that's the case, bottom line, but I'm just curious if that's the reason what made her say yes to that proposal.
It does give me a little bit of I hate to say it, but if Red Pill get a hold of this, they are finishing this situation off. Because they're gonna say this is why you don't marry those single mothers. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm already hearing their title on their post. I'm just gonna be real with you. Now let's talk about it because I think it's a real thing. I believe we're all educated men here, so we can have this educated conversation. But it does remind me of those kind of things that they do say. And I always say Red Pill do have some elements of truth. I don't agree with everything they say and all the madness that sometimes comes with it, but there are elements of truth in this aspect, and it's not across the board. But when I read the post, my thought process was the reason why she really loved him is because he was able to do something. And of course, it's going to be part of her mindset. She has to think about a man that's going to love her child. But part of me was she was so dedicated to the reason why she said yes was because he loved her child and gave her the coverage. You know what I mean? So she didn't marry for love. So that's why even like, oh, I loved him. It's more like, did she love him or did she love the fact that he did things for her? And I don't mean that in a usury way. I mean in a sense of her first mindset being security. Be safe. I've got a kid. I'm by myself. Be safe. Right? Yeah. So that's my kind of first. I don't know if you guys might have heard something similar. You know, listen, I know they, you know, Sean will be looking at me. Go on, Sean.
Yeah, no, and I think like for me, I think the problematic part is it's not even that we can look at this, right, and just be like, oh, you know, there's some issues with this, or this is may not be something that I want. the mere fact that it is being sold as a narrative, like this is the path to love, this is the path to marriage, and it just feeds into a very imbalanced idea of what a relationship should look like between a man and a woman. And if you're talking about red pill, they're already anti-marriage, right? So they're going to eat this up, because here we are. We have a woman that's been married to a man for however many years, and this guy has bent over backwards how many times, and finally she's won over. So he has the prize. What is the prize? That's what I ask. What is the prize? Years of not being loved or in love with? Years of taking care of another man's child? What is the prize? What's at the end of the rainbow for me? Oh, that you finally decided to wake up and decide that, oh, now after I've given so much of myself, you're ready to be in love? Oh, great, thanks. I'm excited about that. Where was the love when we walked down the aisle? Where was the love when I was giving myself to you, right? That should be mutual. When we say vows to each other, you can say what you want to say, but when we say those vows before God, you should be in love with me. And if you're not, I don't want it. And for anybody talking about what a secure attachment style is, an insecure, it's not about insecure. I'm not insecure because I'm a little bit bothered by the fact that a woman is saying she wasn't in love with her husband for years. Doesn't make me insecure. It makes me concerned, because that would be a red flag. And if the shoe was on the other foot, a woman would equally have a right to be concerned, because that's not a foundation for a marriage. And don't womansplain, right? Because we're good at telling us we're mansplaining, right? Don't womansplain to me and like recreate this. And this is what happens. It turns into, you know, the fable and the myth. And we're going to be singing this woman's prayer. You know, I want Anna's prayer or Sarah's prayer, whatever this young lady's name is. No, I don't want that for me, because I don't want it. And I don't see the prize, honestly. I see years of underlying resentment. I see years of pain that comes out in little ways, and it's not always in big ways. And as men, we're taught, don't say anything. You're insecure if you talk about it. You know, you hold your emotions in. Don't talk about it. You don't need to be adored. You don't need to. You're a man. What do you need to be? You don't need your woman to be attracted. You thrive on providing. Yeah, those things may be true. But, and however, there's so many components, you know, because we are two humans. We too desired. We want to be desired. We want you to look at us and desire us and have those feelings. So again, not saying that love, people don't go through challenges in love, but let's not start at negative 20,000 and my tank is all filled and you're running on E. No, then that's not what I want.
You know, is something to be said about this whole situation. I won't say this is solely women, because this is men as well. We see certain things as an insecurity, right? Like I was making mention before of a man giving too much of himself to a woman can be a sign of an insecurity. It can be a sign that, you know, you have too much time to develop those feelings for me. What are you doing in your you time? You have too much spare time, right? So insecurities are or can be seen as a red flag unless, man or woman, you can see yourself thriving in that person's insecurity. So if you see yourself thriving in someone's insecurity, now it doesn't look the same way it did before. It can still be considered a red flag, but it's a red flag that you can control. So in her particular situation, she knows this man is head over heels for her, right? He worships her, to his own words. So if that is the case, she knows that she can manipulate some things to work in her favor. So this is a space that she can thrive in that can be beneficial to her. And if it was the other way around, a man could thrive in a situation be beneficial to them. But the key here is to find yourself a partner who it's okay to be sprung